Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special panel. Our topic and theme today is Start, Build, Grow, Shaping the Future of Digital Commerce. I'm Shivani Mutana from Your Story, and we're very excited to have with us today speakers from the Flipkart leadership as well as the Flipkart seller community. Now, just to really give you an introduction and set the context, while e-commerce, of course, has been growing at an exponential rate over the last few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has, in a way, given a silver lining to the sector and ramped up and accelerated the e-commerce space at a much faster pace than anticipated. It has, of course, now become a key service and has further really reinstated its value, not just for people, but for the country's economy as well. With that said, it would only be worthy to credit the thousands of sellers who ensured that everything we needed was delivered at our doorsteps with just a few clicks. So to celebrate these accounts of resilience and strength, Flipkart is bringing to you a collection of stories of these sellers who really braved the odds and leveraged the Flipkart platform to conquer new growth milestones. So on the panel today, we have with us 3 Flipkart sellers who really represent the 350,000 plus community of sellers on the platform. Let me quickly introduce the speakers to you today. We have first with us Bhupendra Patil, who is the founder of Home Sizzler. It is a company based out of Panipat and retails in bed linen and curtains on Flipkart. Prachi Patwardhan, who is the founder of Girls Fashion. The company sells imitation jewelry and has recently also ventured into selling women's accessories. 75% of the company's online business is generated via Flipkart. Vivek Sharma, founder at Decor Hand. Vivek, of course, started his venture with a passion for promoting Saharanpur's wooden handicrafts. The company is part of the Flipkart Samarth program, and today the business provides livelihood to over 250 plus local artisans and encourages them to continue practicing the traditional craft. And from the Flipkart leadership, we have with us Jagjeet Harode, who is the Senior Director of Marketplace at Flipkart. In this role, he really oversees the acquisition, business growth, and operations of sellers and MSMEs on the platform. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and for joining us today. Through this conversation, of course, we will explore the challenges and successes that the Flipkart selling community really has faced and how Flipkart has been an inherent part of your growth. We will also, of course, discuss the future of digital commerce. But before all of that, let's first really dive into the entrepreneurial journey of, 3 of you individually, Bhupendra, Prachi, and Vivek. And maybe Bhupendra, if I could come to you first, because, all 3 of you have growing businesses across categories, but the common thread really is that all of you are first-time entrepreneurs, first-generation entrepreneurs. So tell us a bit about your startup and entrepreneurial journey and what really made Flipkart a great starting point for you, Bhupendra.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Bhupendra. We sell online with a brand name Home Sizzler. So we started our journey 6 years back with a small investment of 4 to 5 lakh rupees. So initially we started with only 5 to 10 available design in the market. And then gradually on the basis of what were the return, what we were getting the response over the market, we started building our catalog. So from 10 to 15 designs, now we have almost 300 designs on for our brand. And every year we see we have seen growth of 100%. And with Flipkart, what we have seen, this is the platform which is the easiest and the biggest platform. So it gives us the ease of operating the business, and also it is the biggest, the penetration and everything. So it gives us a reach to all over India. So that is where we see the growth opportunity in e-commerce market.
Great, Bhupendra. Thanks for sharing your entrepreneurial journey with us and how Flipkart really played a pivotal role. Prachi, अगर आप भी बता सकते हो कि आपने कैसा फैसला लिया अभी इस वक्त बहुत सारे ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म्स है ई कॉमर्स के लिए लेकिन फ्लिपकार्ट को कैसे आपने चुना और आपका ग्रोथ स्टोरी अभी तक कैसे रहा है?
Sure. So hello everyone, I'm Prachi. My brand name is Girls Fashion, and I have actually worked in the IT industry for about 10 to 12 years. Then after that, I actually decided to go into a kind of a business. So at that time, my deciding point was like e-commerce was in a definitely boom at that time in 2014. So then I decided to do my business basically online. So the category, being a passionate about the jewelry, I chose a category as a jewelry and then decided to do my business on the e-commerce. So at that time, after study, I got to know about the marketplace, and the biggest marketplace was the Flipkart at that time. And so I did some study behind that, and then got to know about the Flipkart as a marketplace. And rather than doing a website of our own, it's always better to start selling your products first time on the well-known marketplace, and that was the Flipkart in 2014. And so I decided to sell my products on the Flipkart. The onboarding process, the my actually listing all my products process and order processing process was user friendly and very much easy. And the seller support team was also the best on the Flipkart. So I had a very good experience while starting my business on the Flipkart, and it really worked well. And with the days, because I initially started with just a 25 products, and then now my products are like the ranges of 1500 products on the Flipkart, and it is generating more than a 75% of revenue from the Flipkart other than other marketplaces.
Right, Prachi, it's great to see how you made up your mind to take that entrepreneurial plunge, and Flipkart really gave you the backbone and the platform really from where there was no looking back, and you only grew from there. So thanks for sharing your journey with us. Vivek, अगर आप भी बता सकते हो आपका थोड़ा हटके जो है बिजनेस, आप ट्रेडिशनल आर्टिजन्स के साथ काम करते हो, सहारनपुर से वुडन हैंडीक्राफ्ट्स का बिजनेस करते हो, तो आपका जर्नी कैसे रहा है?
मैं जब ये बिजनेस स्टार्ट किया था तब ऑनलाइन तो इंडिया में आया नहीं था, तो लाइक आई स्टार्टेड इन 2001। तो ऑफलाइन हम लोग को इतना स्ट्रगल करना पड़ा हैंडीक्राफ्ट्स को प्रमोट करने के लिए। आज तक भी ऑफलाइन में कोई भी प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं है। तो लाइक 10 to 12 years हम लोग एक्सपोर्ट्स के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट थे। कुछ गवर्नमेंट की इंसेंटिव स्कीम्स आती थी छोटे छोटे आर्टिशियंस के लिए, उनके ऊपर डिपेंडेंट थे। बट यस, जब ऑनलाइन मार्केट प्लेस स्टार्ट हुआ, स्पेशली हमारा इंडिया का जो ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म है वो फ्लिपकार्ट जो सबसे बड़ा है, तो इन लोगों ने मेरी कंपनी को सिलेक्ट किया इनके समर प्रोग्राम के लिए, और उसके बाद से तो बहुत जबरदस्त चेंज आ गया। तो कंपनी इज ग्रोइंग लाइक मल्टीपल ग्रोथ, लाइक 200% ग्रोथ एवरी ईयर वी आर सेइंग। तो इससे क्या होता है कि मुझे मेरी टीम को एक एनकरेजमेंट मिलता है, हम लोग को एक स्पेशल विजिबिलिटी मिलती है जो कभी नहीं मिली हमारे आर्टिस्ट्स को। एक अलग से कैटलॉग फ्लिपकार्ट पे समर सेलर्स के लिए है। तो यस, हम लोग भी अभी एक कॉर्पोरेट लेवल के टाइप से आर्टिशियंस को बिजनेस दे रहे हैं, जो कि पहले एक जो वो बनाते थे वो बिकता था, नाउ अभी वो भी ऑर्डर बेस पे काम करते हैं, उनके पास भी क्वांटिटीज आने लगे।
Sure. So thank you, Vivek, for sharing that story with us. आप जैसे बोल रहे हैं कि पहले बहुत struggle करना पड़ा, लेकिन because of this online platform, a lot of that has become much easier in terms of going to market and putting out those products which otherwise people would not really have access to or really know about.
Yes.
So Jagjeet, coming to you now, we've heard all their stories, and it really stands in some sort of testimony to what Flipkart has to offer as a platform. You've got a wide customer reach and a large number of sellers on Flipkart right now. But because of the fact that you have to really service all these sellers, give us a sense of how are you empowering your community of sellers, many of whom, as we saw and heard right now, are taking the online route for the first time.
Firstly, I think it's always heartwarming to hear the success stories of of our seller partners who make us what we are today. So I want to start with a little bit of a gratitude and thanks to them, because I think it's their hard work which is really bringing life to action. And e-commerce sector in India has actually changed the way small and medium businesses operate in India, right? So going back to the number you mentioned in the beginning, right? 3.5 lakh sellers are on the platform, and they're getting an access to a pan-India customer base, right? And we have bunch of a very very diverse set of sellers on the platform. So you will find you were talking about women entrepreneurs. Vivek talked about artisans and craftsmen. We have sellers from all small towns, people who have dared to dream big, I suppose. We have young entrepreneurs, people who I guess are taking bold bets to take online and plunge and sort of offer to consumer what has not been offered before. So one part is, I think, the diversity, and it's testimony to how much progress online commerce has made. Now, coming to empowering question, I think there are two sets of segments that I see. There is a segment, for example, like Prachi and Bhupendra, where these are the entrepreneurs who sort of saw that there is a opportunity to serve the consumer better, and they took the plunge and they did what they're doing, and we have lakhs of them. For them, I think the idea has been to make onboarding very, very easy. Ensure we, for new sellers specifically, what we do is we have a very easy, and we continue to evolve that to even make it easier process to come on board, come online. We provide free incubation for 3 months to get them accustomed to how online selling works, and after that also we have a lot of options available to them to learn the ropes, right? I think and so that is one part. Second part is what Vivek mentioned, where you have rural entrepreneurs, artisans, handicrafts, all of those people who probably don't even understand digital very, very well, right? So there, I think the approach has been to handhold them even more closely. So whether it's catalog help, or having a special account management for them, or a special support for them, we've tried to do that. In the larger scheme of things, I think the vision is that anybody in the country wanting to sell online, or even globally for that matter, gets all the help that they need, right, in a very simplified and enabled, fair, transparent way. And that's what our mission has been. And if you really look at it as a homegrown company, we have enabled these MSMEs to play a vital role in creating further employment opportunities, right? And it is directly contributing to India's economy. And like you rightly pointed out, I think the last 2 years, which has been difficult for the country, I'm happy that we've been able to sort of enable many more sort of sellers who have shown a lot of interest coming online, right? And that has what has sort of further transformed this journey from being from being on a linear path to a absolutely transformational path. Couple of more things I just want to add to my answer. I think we also have I think Samarth, we touched upon previously, but there is a program called Vriddhi, which is a Walmart's supplier development program in India. This is in close partnership with Flipkart, and we've been organizing webinars for small businesses with the aim to disseminate knowledge and share best practices, right, to ensure safety of their workforce and also relevant demand insights, because even the demand, as the lockdown and all of these things have happened, has been changing, right? So I think in right insights at the right time helped our sellers also sort of figure out where the opportunity was and serve consumers, right. We've also, through the program, we are opening institutes across India to help and train MSMEs to scale and enter the global supply chain. So that's the next level of sort of learning and enablement that has been done during these challenging times.
Sure, I think you've really made the effort to understand all the pain points of the seller community, right from training them, teaching them, onboarding them, and then also giving them tools and services to make sure that their growth journey, remains exponential as they go forward. So thanks for that, Jagjeet. And you also, of course, mentioned the unprecedented times that we've seen in the past year and a half, and that really brings me to the question about how the pandemic has really impacted business and growth for the seller community, because that was something that no one really expected, and it sort of hit us from nowhere. People weren't really prepared for it, but as you mentioned, Flipkart innovated and you've provided some tools on that end as well. But Bhupendra, अगर आप बता सकते हो कि पैंडेमिक के टाइम पे आपका बिजनेस पे क्या असर पड़ा, and how did you sort of adapt to it? How did you use Flipkart to really move forward?
So basically, last year we had a huge impact, like 2 months, March and April, were badly hit by the pandemic, and our business was zero because our category falls into non-essential. So at that time, we were facing more issues when the market opened. So there were more issues like labor was not there, and raw material issues were there. So gradually we started again, and we used the FA model, like Flipkart warehouse model, wherein we shipped the product to their warehouses and used their space to process our orders. When the market opened, and they were more inclined towards online sales. So after that, the whatever we lost in the month of say March and April, we covered in the coming months.
Okay, so it's good to know that you managed to, survive through the low phase and also make good when the markets opened up.
Yeah.
Vivek, अगर आप भी बता सकते हो आपकी company and sales के ऊपर कैसे असर पड़ा, because artisanal products is not something that falls in the non-essential, in the essential category, so to speak. तो आपने क्या किया और कैसा रहा है आपका business अभी?
पेंडेमिक के टाइम पे बिजनेस को बहुत अफेक्ट हुआ था, बट जैसे लाइक फ्लिपकार्ट की टीम बैकअप में हम लोग को प्रोजेक्शंस दे रहे थे कि लाइक अगर जैसे अप्रैल और मई में हम लोग ने फेस किया, उस टाइम पर एसेंशियल प्रोडक्ट्स ही अलाउ कर रही थी गवर्नमेंट ई कॉमर्स में बेचने के लिए, बट हमारे अकाउंट मैनेजर जो थे, चाहे वो फर्नीचर कैटेगरी हो या डेकोर की कैटेगरी थी, they were just for artisans at least, हम लोग भी बोलते थे कि उन लोग को तो काम चाहिए, वो लोग घर पे काम करते, बाहर तो आते हैं, तो प्रोजेक्शंस दिए उन्होंने और वही हुआ। वो बोलते थे कि अगर ये एक लॉग एक बीच में स्टॉप हुआ है तो ये कवर करेंगे हम लोग, और वो फ्लिपकार्ट ने जस्ट उसके लाइक अप्रैल मई मंथ के बाद जो इवेंट्स प्लान किए हैं, जो मार्केटिंग किया है, तो यस वो सारा के सारा लॉस कवर किया है। और पेंडेमिक के टाइम पे हम लोग को जो इनकी गाइडेंस मिली थी उसकी वजह से आर्टिशियंस को उतना अफेक्ट नहीं हुआ जो हो सकता था।
Jagjeet, coming to you, looking at their accounts, it's great to see that all of them had a platform such as Flipkart to really fall back on. And through that, they managed to really survive the crisis and come out of it. We've also seen reports that Flipkart introduced a slew of initiatives to really support its lakhs of sellers and artisans amid the pandemic, essentially through probably financial as well as health benefits. So if you can really take us through some of that and how you're really supporting your seller community as a whole.
Pandemic was a difficult time. I think on one hand, for essentials, we saw a huge surge in demand. For non-essentials, there was challenge in terms of our inability to sell due to lockdown. So and therefore, I think we also tailored our approach towards who were sellers who were on essentials versus sellers who were on non-essentials. In terms of really helping the sellers at this point of time, I think there were 2-3 trends that were happening. One trend was that working capital as a need for a lot of our small sellers became paramount at that point of time, because the cash flow was a problem. So through multiple tie-ups and sort of really getting into the depth of how we can solve that problem, we accelerated our Flipkart Growth Capital program. And this was to support the business continuity and growth for our seller partners. So what we did was we actually provided credit options, right, of loans to sellers ranging from 5 lakh to 5 crores at a very competitive interest rates. And the numbers sort of we saw a very healthy increase and adoption of these programs, right? So I think 82% year on year growth is what we saw in this program itself, because we knew sellers needed this. And over and above that, I think it was very, very important also to help them in the softer aspects, like your health and safety benefits. And at that point of time, prioritizing the health and safety of all, we actually announced that we will bear 100% premium of the COVID insurance to all sellers. And it covered a hospitalization and consultation between 50,000 to 3 lakhs. So that was the second big thing. Third part was, we understood that sellers, partners across the country, as Bhupender also mentioned, had labor problems, has inventory problem. So what we did was, a lot of our matrices, we provide them flexibility. So we had to balance what consumer was asking with what sellers could do. So a lot of these matrices where we are very stringent, because I think the hallmark of the platform is to ensure that we provide great consumer value, and that's our first motto. In these trying times, we provided with some flexibility. We provided with some flexibility both sides, and I think both sides understood the exceptional circumstances that we were in. So that was the third part. Now coming to the sellers who are picking up and getting demand, there we sort of really got into the rhythm of providing demand insights: what was selling, what was not selling, what is it that sellers needed to procure on time, and a lot of those things. So account managers, I mean, while in the in the usual scheme of things we would have reached out to certain number of sellers, we try to reach out to everybody with these insights to ensure that they could plan the inventory accordingly, because we understood everybody had to be told the change that the entire paradigm or the demand of consumers that the platform was seeing. So these are some of the things. And over and above that, right, from a protection point of view, we actually increase the window for something called seller protection fund, which is where sellers can claim the protection on the return products if there was any issue, right? So that window we increased from 14 days to 30 days. And we just ensured, we spoke to a lot of seller in these times to understand where the difficulty was, what the problems were, and to the extent that we could ease out and help out them, right, we did that. And I think the true testament as Prachi and even Vivek was mentioning was that while we were doing all of this, I think the real resilience had to be on ground, right? With many of them opening their stores, figuring out where the inventory had to get from, and getting the labor back. All of that, I think, the sheer amount of resurgence that I saw was unprecedented. So we did our bit, I would say a small part of it, but sellers truly sort of rose to the occasion and served the consumer need.
Sure, and every person's bit, of course, plays to the entire ecosystem. Like you mentioned, you lent your support as well. The resilience came in from the seller community, and of course, at the end of the day, it's really stronger together. So thanks, Jagjeet, for giving us an account of what really Flipkart has done. You've looked into the entire value chain and made sure that the ecosystem really remains intact. So coming back to you, Prachi, because all of you mentioned how the pandemic has also led to the online space becoming more worthy. So give us a sense of how relevant this business is for you as sellers. What are some of the key values and benefits that a platform like Flipkart really drives uniquely for you? And जैसे कि हम बोलते हैं कि online, the benefits that you get from here, and probably how grateful you are for taking this route.
So definitely I want to tell is that the most advantage of selling online is the day one you become a national seller. You start getting orders from all states within the India. Like if you open a shop, it will be like just the local customers will approach you. But the main and important advantage of selling online is the day one you become a national seller.
Sure, and that's a really interesting and valid point that you made there, that on day one you really become a national seller. So the scale and the reach really is exponential online. Coming to you as well, Bhupendra, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, truly told by Prachi. So basically, this is the platform which gives us a national presence. So we never thought of we will be selling out of say our city. Means we are based in a tier 2 city. We never thought of we will be selling across India. And the platform like Flipkart, it gives us a visibility, or it made our brand a national brand, wherein we are reaching each part of country. So, see, our major sale, it is coming from south and east, particularly from northeast. So, and we got a recognition as a national brand. So, that is very proud moment for us. And apart from this, these are the platform which gives us, the experts, the team, the management gives us expert advice or say insights to grow our business. So this is the platform which gives us a infra where we can scale our business. So this is what we have seen, and this is all about.
Sure. And Vivek, coming to you particularly, I want to ask you also about the Flipkart Samarth program, because your company, of course, is part of that flagship initiative, Flipkart Samarth, which is really an inclusive platform for the underserved communities, such as artisans as well as rural domestic communities, handicapped persons as well. So, आपका क्या experience रहा है? What sort of benefits have you got under this initiative?
फ्लिपकार्ट ने जो किया है हम लोग के लिए, लाइक फॉर आर्टिशियंस, वो बिल्कुल ही एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी है. लाइक फॉर प्राची जी ने जो एक्सप्लेन किया, या भूपेंद्र ने जो एक्सप्लेन किया, इन लोग की जो बिजनेस है वो एक वो एक डिमांड के ऊपर है. हमारा जो आर्टिशियंस का बिजनेस है वो एक कोई पर्टिकुलर उसका डिमांड नहीं था. उसके लिए डिमांड क्रिएट करना था. पब्लिक को या कस्टमर्स को प्रोडक्ट चाहिए, पर उनको पता नहीं था कि कहाँ से मिलता है. तो हमारे लिए तो एक एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी ही रहा ई कॉमर्स, बिकॉज समर प्रोग्राम से हम लोग को एक प्लेटफॉर्म मिला है. जैसे बताया इन लोग ने भी कि भाई नेशनल लेवल के सेलर्स हो गए. अभी अभी पहले होता था कि प्रोडक्ट बनता था तो बिकता नहीं था. अभी सिचुएशन ये है कि हम लोग को पास डिमांड है, प्रोडक्ट बनता नहीं. सो दिस इज द चेंज फॉर आर्टिशियंस, जो फ्लिपकार्ट स्पेशली इस समर प्रोग्राम के आने के बाद आया.
Sure. Thanks, Vivek. And coming to you, Jagjeet, in terms of driving value, we've all spoken about how you've got such a huge base of sellers. And right now there's a marketplace where they sort of start their business and sell. But beyond that, in terms of driving value essentially to your sellers, how do you essentially see that going forward?
So Shivani, I think the glimpses of the question you are asking, I think those answers somewhere were hidden in, what the seller partners were mentioning. And if I look at the larger picture, right, I expect India's e-commerce growth story to be inclusive, right? It will empower both sellers and consumers, right? Uh, from a consumer side, it will, provide convenient access to a wide assortment of products, right, across all geographies and income segments. And for sellers, it is providing the unprecedented, sort of impetus by establishing easy access to a large base of customers across the country. Now, if you come to, frankly, the value part of it, there are two things interestingly that are happening. I think there is an access to, almost all the pin codes in the country that ETEL has, already been able to provide for, right? And so this national sellers is not just urban national sellers. You're talking about going to far flung rural areas as well, right? So unprecedented democratization of the shopping landscape, right? And therefore what's happening is, because the information is available at the click of a button, right? uh, any seller, any entrepreneur who has a proposition in mind, who believes he can make a product that is either unique or sort of is able to meet a demand that does not exist. If that is happening, honestly, Flipkart will be able to provide the access and the platform to showcase it to the consumer. And I think the value creation part is not restricted just to access, right? I think it's a journey from starting out of what you know, but then learning a lot more, through what consumers are saying. So, as you start selling, you learn what is being accepted very well, what is not being accepted, what are the places where what are the new trends, what is the pricing that you can operate at, and therefore work with your sourcing to give that pricing to the consumer so that the volumes are much larger. So coupled with a platform that is providing access, I think the true combination of insights along with gaps identification and then final enablement, all of this, when it works in a kind of a flywheel, is what is helping us provide tremendous value to the sellers, right? So they're also learning with us, they're also growing with us. But just the unprecedented scale of it, where lakhs of these sellers are coming online and sort of learning from it, becoming better every day, and then therefore providing better value to the consumer, right? And then consumers getting better value, therefore coming back to platform for everything. Right now, I think there's nothing that is left that consumers don't come to us for. And just to sort of touch upon a little bit on the other operational parts of the sellers, right? So for example, your ability to manage predictability of demand, your ability to sort of have the the payments itself, right? If I really look at the traditional sort of for SMEs, MSMEs, the payment mode of operations, that to depend on somebody, right? And it was not very transparent, and it was not very structured and very, very clear. Technology has been able to make some of these things fully predictable and extremely smooth, right? So I just believe that we are on a very, very interesting journey. A lot of transformation is taking place, but there's a long way to go on both sides. I think we can do so much more for consumers, and I think we can, we can get so many more sellers onboarded, to serve India and Bharat.
Sure, Jagjeet, interesting way of putting it, that the value creation really is in the entire journey itself. So now to just really wrap this up, to celebrate the journey of the sellers like Bhupendra, Prachi and Vivek, their determination to achieve their dreams, the spirit of resilience that we've seen amidst the challenges in the past 1.5 years. Flipkart is on its end releasing a short compilation of about 12 success stories of its sellers, and these stories will be available online. They can in fact be downloaded from this particular microsite that you can see on your screens mentioned below. Do feel free to have a look at these stories and also get some sense of inspiration and motivation from there. This is a note to all our viewers. And before we close, Jagjeet, if you could also give us your comments on the entire process of putting this together.
Sure, Shivani. I think this is just a small gesture. I think of a very small sample set of successes that we have seen. I think these 12 stories sort of in some ways a celebration of dreaming and making your dreams probably reality. It celebrates in some sense every challenge sort of gives an opportunity, and how people from different parts of the country, from different diverse backgrounds, are able to make a difference and make I would say purposefully drive success in their own ways, right? And while there are 12 stories like these, I think I can tell you very confidently there are thousands of such stories unfolding as we speak. And the endeavor is to sort of convert that into lakhs and then millions of stories. And that, I think, is what at least excites me about the journey we are on. And yeah, I think just a request, if you get a time, I think just go through it. Nothing I think I've seen that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of us look at success stories, and then that inspires us to do something different. And I think hope it inspires everybody who sort of is watching it, as well as get time to sort of go through it. I'm hoping to see many Prachis and Viveks and Bhupender in the times to come, like thousands and lakhs of them.
And on that note, I think, we'll really also like to thank Bhupendra, Prachi and Vivek for their time and participation on this panel. More power to all the three of you, and, the entire seller community and other aspiring entrepreneurs who really want to achieve your dream. Hopefully you get inspired and motivated in some sense. More power to the three of you in really achieving your dreams further with grit and determination. Thank you very much to all of you. Stay safe and stay healthy.